In 1978, the fastest American production vehicle to 100 miles per hour was not a Corvette C3 or a Pontiac Trans Am. It was a pickup truck with wooden bed panels and chrome exhaust stacks rising behind the cab. At a red light, it did not look threatening. It looked like a dressed-up farm truck. But when the light turned green, that harmless-looking pickup could pull away from America's sports car icon and keep going. That truck was the Dodge Little Red Express, built by Dodge at a time when performance cars were supposed to be finished. The late 1970s were not kind to muscle. Insurance rates punished horsepower. The 1973 oil crisis still hung over the market. Emissions rules tightened every year. By 1978, the once mighty Corvette L82 produced just 220 horsepower gross, rated at 185 net. Trans Ams were struggling under catalytic converters and restrictive exhaust systems. Magazine covers no longer screamed about quarter-mile dominance. They talked about fuel economy. Amidst all this tumult, Dodge quietly built something strange. Visually, the Little Red Express did not look like a performance machine. It was bright red, almost cartoonish. Gold pinstriping traced the sides. Real oak wood panels lined the bed. Two tall chrome exhaust stacks rose behind the cab, like something off a semi-truck. In dealership photos from 1978, it looked like a novelty. However, underneath it was something else entirely. The truck used a 360 cubic inch V8, the E58 police-spec version also found in Mopar pursuit vehicles. Rated at 225 horsepower net, it does not sound outrageous by modern standards, but here is the crucial detail. The Little Red Express was classified as a light-duty truck under 6,000 pounds. That meant it was exempt from certain catalytic converter requirements that strangled passenger cars. Car and Driver tested it in 1978. Their numbers were not subtle, 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 7 seconds. The quarter mile in the high 14 seconds. More importantly, it accelerated from 0 to 100 miles per hour quicker than any other American production vehicle that year, including the Corvette C3. That headline shocked. Pickup truck had just embarrassed the sports car icon of the country. Newspaper articles at the time treated it with a mix of amusement and disbelief. Some framed it as a clever workaround. Others questioned whether it made sense in a fuel-conscious era. But the data was printed in black and white. Magazine test sheets don't care about appearances. The numbers were there. The risk for Dodge was real. The brand's performance image had faded after the early 1970s horsepower wars. Releasing a fast truck during a smog crackdown could look tone-deaf. It could invite regulatory attention. It could flop entirely if buyers didn't understand it, and visually, it bordered on absurd. Archival footage shows it idling at shows, chrome stacks gleaming in the sun. It didn't look aerodynamic, it didn't look refined, it looked like a farm truck, dressed for a parade. But when those stacks barked under throttle, the tone changed. Deep, aggressive, unfiltered. Auction listings today still highlight that original performance claim. Bring a Trailer and Mecum descriptions often reference the Car and Driver test that crowned it the quickest American vehicle to 100 miles per hour in 1978. Recent sales commonly land between $30,000 and $60,000, with low-mile examples pushing higher. Collectors repeat that line because it feels almost impossible. Here is the turning point. Dodge did not cheat the system. They read it carefully. Passenger cars were strangled by emissions hardware. Light trucks were not yet bound by the same rules. Instead of reviving a muscle car, Dodge moved performance into a category regulators weren't fully watching. Performance wasn't dead in 1978. It had simply shifted lanes. The Little Red Express was never marketed as a loophole weapon. Dodge brochures leaned into personality. Glossy period ads showed the truck angled under studio lights, gold striping catching reflections, chrome stacks rising behind the cab like polished cannons. The copy talked about attitude and individuality. It did not shout about beating Corvettes to 100 miles per hour. But enthusiasts noticed. Receipts matter. The recorded 0 to 100 miles per hour time put the truck ahead of every other American production vehicle that year. Not just faster to 60 miles per hour, faster all the way to triple digits. That detail is the one owners repeat at shows, and the one auction listings still highlight decades later. Mecum and Barrett-Jackson catalog descriptions regularly reference the magazine's numbers because they transform the truck from novelty to anomaly. Here is what makes the numbers more impressive. The Lil Red Express was not a stripped race special. It carried a full interior. It had a bench seat. Air conditioning was available. Power steering was included. It rode on a standard Dodge D150 platform with heavy-duty suspension components meant for payload stability, not drag racing. Curb weight was well over 2 tons. In side profile footage, you can see how tall it stands compared to a Corvette. And yet, when both throttle blades open, the truck surges forward with surprising urgency. The engine choice was deliberate. The E58 360 cubic inch V8 used in police packages featured a hotter camshaft and improved breathing compared to base truck engines. No catalytic converters meant exhaust flow stayed relatively unrestricted in early production. Period undercarriage photos clearly show the dual pipes running cleanly back to those vertical stacks. The sound, captured in grainy late 70s video clips, is raw and mechanical, not refined or muted. It feels like something that slipped past oversight. Newspaper coverage called it a muscle truck, before that term was common. Others questioned whether America needed a fast pickup during a fuel-conscious time. The oil crisis had reshaped buyer psychology. Efficiency was the language of responsibility, and here was Dodge selling a bright red V8 truck with gold accents and chrome smokestacks. That tension is what makes the truck significant. It proved something the industry wasn't ready to admit. Regulation did not eliminate performance desire, it redirected it. Dodge did not revive a Charger. They did not resurrect a Challenger. They found a different lane where the rules were lighter and the breathing was freer. The misconception today is that the Lil Red Express had outrageous horsepower compared to its rivals. It didn't. On paper, its 225 net horsepower wasn't dramatically higher than some contemporary V8 cars. The difference was restriction. Passenger cars were strangled by catalytic converters and tighter emissions calibration. The truck was not, at least initially. That distinction created a real-world advantage that showed up in acceleration charts. Another misconception is that it was somehow illegal. It wasn't. It complied with the light truck standards of its time. When regulations tightened further, later versions were adjusted, but in 1978, Dodge operated fully within the framework available. Visually, it remains unforgettable. Period dealership footage shows customers walking around it, unsure whether to laugh or lean in closer. Real oak bed panels gleam under sunlight. Gold pinstriping feels almost theatrical. The stance is tall and proud, nothing like the low wedge of a sports car. And yet, on an open stretch of road, the gap between them closes quickly. This is where the story expands beyond 1978. Modern performance trucks, the Ford Lightning, the Ram SRT-10, and the supercharged TRX did not appear out of nowhere. They follow a blueprint, big engines in unexpected shapes, speed where it doesn't belong. The Lil Red Express was the first time a major American brand leaned into that contradiction deliberately. It embarrassed muscle cars without trying to look like one. If you remember seeing one Rumble pass by in the late 70s, drop that memory in the comments. And if you enjoy the video, give it a like and subscribe. Thanks for the support.